Hey, it's Luke. Okay, so we got a nice surprise this morning. I just want to make sure the stream is working perfectly. And yeah, a surprise announcement. I actually had a different live stream planned for today, which was I'll be doing it later this week, I think. I wanted to do orchestral music just with the UGEM plugins. And yeah, as you guys know, I do mostly house music, and once in a while I get into these moods to make orchestral stuff. And yeah, I wanted to take all four of them and make something interesting. So anyways, that'll be possibly Wednesday. I think I'm going to stream a lot more than usual this week. And the main reason is I'm getting really close to that 1,000 subscribers and to my watch hours to be able to monetize the channel. So I'm up to, I think 3,500 and some hours, and I need 4,000, but it's like on a rolling basis. And in October last year, when Move came out, I got a lot of extra views there. So in October, that number starts to go down. So I want to try to get it to 4,000 before then. So, but also I've been sitting there. I've wanted to do these streams for a while, and I think I'm just going to go sort of knock through them. So today is going to be this one. Probably tomorrow is going to be Move. We're going to go through the Ableton Live 12.2 update today. I want to do Move as a separate live stream because it sort of deserves its own. And so I'll be playing around with that tonight and doing a live stream tomorrow once I had a chance to sit down and try some of the new features. And then Note is going to be in there a little bit. There's a new update on Ableton Note, which you use on iPad or iPhone or whatever. And but I don't use Note as much, so I'm not going to go into Note too much. But part of it is it's all sort of combined with the update to Move and Note. So, and there's one thing I don't like about that they did for Note. So we're going to go through that tomorrow. And then Wednesday, hopefully, UGEM. Like I don't think I've ever live streamed. Like I might have done 2 or 3 when Ableton Move came out, but in a week. But anyways, there's that. I might look at Arpeggio Lab from Reason. I've been wanting to look at that for a while, and I finally got a trial for a couple of months, or it was like $1 a month for 2 months or whatever. So, excuse me. So yeah, I might look at Arpeggio Lab. And anyways, I've got a whole bunch of them. I keep reorganizing the list. So anyways, 2 of them moved up the list this time. I'm just gonna, oh yeah, that's right. That's what I was going to do. Check that the stream is working correctly and load up the chat box. I'm sorry if you're writing. And anyways, I've got a whole bunch of them. Okay. And yeah, so nice to see you guys here. And let's go through these. Okay, as you probably know already, I don't generally I don't install the beta versions because I like to get the surprise when it comes out, and I use this for production and instead of having the 2 versions going and whatever. So we're going to go through the announcement, and then I like doing a live stream when the actual one comes out and everything's official. And yeah, because a lot of the time there's like stuff, and then like it's sort of half there, and then by the time it comes out there's some changes. But anyways, so we're going to go through the update. We're going to look at a few of these videos that they did. And yeah, I have some thoughts on a bunch of these things. So we're going to go through all of these. So let's just want to see here. Okay. So stem separation, that's what everybody's talking about. And it's probably the most exciting part of this, but it's not the only exciting part of this. And for me, like stem separation isn't something that I've been looking for that much because I don't use it really for remixing or for like to sample commercial stuff, because I do music for television. So you can't have like extra samples in there that, unlicensed stuff or whatever. So the stem separation isn't something that I've been just waiting for, but a lot of people have. So if you've been waiting for this, I totally understand. I actually have been curious about this in the first place because there might be, before I even look at this, what other uses are there for stem separation? in audio software besides remixing or I don't know, using commercially released samples from commercially released tracks. Okay, so because I've been curious about this, like I'm sure there's some use for it. I'd love stem separation where it would separate the drums into like the hi-hat, the kick drum, whatever. I could use that so much. But this, okay, practice and learning. Actually, oh, that makes sense. I like that. Okay, okay, I'm sold now because it's true. And if you take out the bass line, you can really just hear the bass line. Okay, I like that part. Rearrangements, yeah, that's not for me, but in the mashups and live performance, I do DJing stuff just for myself. But and then sound design, music education. Can maybe look at that stuff here. Ear training, again, it's sort of all the same thing. But actually, they're right. I think I can use this. Fixing old mixes. Actually, that's not a bad idea because I do have. Yeah, that's smart actually. Okay, there's another use for it because I do have some really, really old tracks when I was starting out doing music that actually aren't that bad, but they're mixed all wrong. And okay. Dialogue cleanup, music information. Okay. I think I can. Okay, we can find some uses for this. And where are we here? Okay, so I just want to watch their video about it, and they use Music AI. Oh, there's a setting in there. If you're going to set this up, there's a setting. We're going to look at it in the release notes in a second, but there's a setting you have to do to increase the quality on this. If you load it up and it's just not working in this beta version, we're gonna look at that in a minute. But let's just see what how they do it. I'm ready like McCready or Keith David, who I'll sing about soon. They stopped the music, not me. It'll be interesting to see, like, a lot of the time, a lot of the time it's on the vocals that you notice it, because that's where you've got like glitches and different sounds. Or Keith David, who I'll sing about soon. Yeah, I can see this being useful. Just to learn what's going on behind the scenes. Now in the aft, I've got a backdraft. That does sound nice. I want to go back to the vocal because oops. I'm ready like McCready or Keith David, who I'll sing about soon. You do notice little artifacts in there, but that does sound. It sounds very good. So let's look at this here. Oh, by the way, hi, William Extra. Nice to see you. So there's something here that they mention, and I'm not sure if this will be added in the official release or you're still gonna have to change this. And but basically they mention that it has a high quality option and you have to enable it in the options.txt file. Anytime I mention the options.txt file, people get scared. Even myself, I don't enjoy having to deal with that. But it is very useful, and there's a bunch of stuff you can do in it. Basically, it's a hidden file. If you've never used it, it's a hidden file on your computer in the Ableton folder. But there's a little bit of a mess because it's hidden a lot of the time. You have to work at it to find it. But also, generally, well, you know what? I think they changed this because it used to be every time there was a new update, you had to recreate that options.txt file. It was really annoying. But I noticed, I'm pretty sure last time I loaded in a new version, it had brought it over. So I think they might be bringing that over. If so, that's great because you deal with it once and you leave it there and that's it. There are a bunch of things you can do with it. If you want to know how to set it up the best way is I have a video about transferring presets from Ableton Move to from Ableton Live to the Ableton Move. And in that one, I actually do go through it. I think I mentioned how it is on Windows as well. It's a bit of a hassle, but actually, if we go to the options text file, I think they mention it here. Yeah, they do tell you how to create it. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it feels so daunting when you look at it, and then you do it and you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. And it's just a plain text file. Just make sure it's like follow the instructions where it's 1 per line, and like it has to be exact. There's usually, I think, oh, maybe not. There's on the Ableton Move documentation, there's actually an example options, like there's a downloadable options.txt file if you really are worried about it. But don't use Microsoft Word. Use something that's just text. If you're on Windows, it's Notepad. If it's on here, it'll be text. Is that what it is? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Text edit. Anyways, so yeah, you'll have to deal with the options.txt file, but you may get higher quality, so it's worth trying that. They do mention that if you're on an older Windows system, it may run very slowly. So yeah, but anyways, that'll be built in there. Let's go back here. I'm going to go mostly through the release notes themselves because there are more details and like there's more information about it. But I want to, on here, they have a few of the videos. So basically it's stem separation. It's not live. Like I think you have to, like, it'll stop your audio and you do it and then you can use it. But yeah, that'll be an interesting feature to have. Splice integration is one of those things where it's one of those features like that nobody asked for, but it's sort of interesting. I'm hoping, I generally use Loop Cloud more than Splice. And a lot of people are saying like it'll become sort of a code bloat because, they have to do for Splice, a different one for if they do for Loop Cloud and for a bunch of other ones. But the concept is sort of interesting because those are always a little bit awkward. And I've had people mention like, I don't know where my Splice samples are, like where they download, whatever. And yeah, so let's just look at, we'll just watch this video for now. Sorry if it's really loud. It's interesting that you can actually hear it in context with your other, like with the rest of your track. So that is an interesting way. Yeah, I'm assuming this one is sort of like where it finds similar sounds in the browser normally for Ableton, but you drop a reference sample and it will find stuff that sounds like that, which is really interesting.
I love the way you work it. I love the way.
Yeah, they didn't like play the original reference file that they were using, I don't think.
I love the way you work it.
Okay, so anyways, you'll be able to use Splice in there. That will be interesting. And yeah, so I don't know. Like, I don't know how. Oh yeah, that's something they mentioned here. Is it here? Oh no, it's here. In the that's what I was saying on the release notes. Load up the release notes, not just this Ableton page, because it does have a lot more information about it. And one thing they do mention here, because like you can usually get, if you've never had a Splice trial, there are always like codes. There's always a code for a free offer for a month free or whatever. So you'll be able to find something. But they do mention here a Splice account is required, including non-subscription accounts, which would be the ones that aren't like where you're not paying every month, I guess, and that offered 2,500 free samples. So when they officially release it, and yeah, I'm going to go into my Splice account and see. I had a quick look today. I didn't see those in there. I noticed I had like 1,900 of like my own samples that I bought on Splice, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see this one, the free samples, because that opens it up a little bit more. Like if, you know, not everybody uses Splice, so that will be interesting there. And yeah, so the Auto Pan-Tremolo. I think they have a video about this one too. Okay, bounce groups. Should we go with that one? It's weird. They changed changed the order in here. Let's jump down to tremolo, and then we'll do the bounce groups, because that's just text. So yeah, the Auto Pan. So the Auto Pan, if you've been using that, I love using it. And there's actually one preset that I use generally, which is called Around the Head, and a lot of the time I just drop that on and it's perfect. But what you may have used it to do tremolo, and it was sort of weird. If you wanted to do tremolo, hold on, we have it here, and we're gonna add the Auto Pan. This is on like before yeah, like this is when this was just Auto Pan before the update. And so if we go to here, you can tell if you're listening on headphones or on like separated speakers, monitors, you'll have it going side to side. And then if you wanted to do tremolo, just bring the phase over this way, and then that's where you could have it. If you want to have just a little bit. So that's how you would do tremolo. So the way they have it now, well, let's watch this one. Oh, they're so loud. Okay. Okay, that's what we were doing earlier. I do love this left to right, like this part here, like with it almost looks like VU meters. I do like that, or it tells you where you are. You can invert the phase. So basically tremolo, instead of doing that, actually I don't even see that anymore, the phase setting. So you're just bringing it down when you switch that. I was hoping this would have extra features where it would have a little bit of a delay, because a lot of the time with like tremolo or vibrato, you'll have like the note going ooh, and that would have been nice. I don't see anything like that here, but I may have missed it, or like one of these things might be doing that. But so if you want to have a side chaining type sound. So I don't love this new strategy of taking like multiple effects and turning them into one, mostly because like my brain is used to going for one specific one. So if I want Auto Pan, I go to Auto Pan. If I want tremolo, I go to tremolo, even though there was no like tremolo device. But and in this case, it makes sense because that's what many of us were using it. Like that's the one most of us were using to do tremolo effects anyways in Ableton, like directly in Ableton Live. But yeah, like it makes me think a little bit more, but yeah, it's not a not a big deal. One of the things they do say is they've actually, the old one, and this is again is only in the release notes. Okay, so they mentioned the two different modes. Yeah, so one thing they do mention somewhere in here is that if you load up an old track that was using Auto Pan itself, it will still load up the Auto Pan, not this Auto Pan-Tremolo, and it'll be called Auto Pan Legacy. So you still have access to the old one if you really want, but the new one has these new effects. So This talks a little bit about the differences in the two. I don't think we want to go into this into too much detail, but yeah, it'd be interesting to play around with this when it comes out. And then the bounce group tracks is an interesting one. So first, I'll let you know if you're asking. It does not have group freeze tracks or freeze group tracks, which is unfortunate, but maybe this gets us a little bit closer. It would be nice. It would be nice, especially like if you have a bunch of synths and you want to freeze all of them just to reduce some strain on your CPU. It would be nice to be able to just do the whole bunch at once. But you do have the bounce group tracks, and there's one interesting thing. It took me a while to go through of like figuring out what they mean with this. This is paste bounced audio. So basically, you'll be able to take your whole, like if you've got your kick on one track and your hi-hats on another one, your snare, whatever, you're able to bounce it all into one audio file, which is nice. It'll just save a little bit of time. But something you'll be able to do as well, from what I understand here, is you'll be able to take a MIDI track and like just take this part here, let's say, and bounce that as audio. So it will actually go run it like in the background, figure out what the audio is on there, and get what you've got in there just from a MIDI track, which is actually pretty impressive. And I'm hoping I understand this right, because I do say a clip time selection from MIDI, audio, or group track. So the audio is there already with the features added recently, which was the bounce to new track or whatever. But group track is definitely new, and you weren't able to do it. I'm pretty sure you weren't able to do it from MIDI. So that'll be a nice little feature there. And yeah, it's one of those quality of life improvements. Like, that's one thing I like about the way Ableton's been doing stuff. Like, sometimes the actual like number release is a little bit underwhelming, like where you're like, oh, I wish there was a little bit more. But they keep delivering and delivering and delivering. And especially if you've got push or move and or note, like they tend to do a lot of updates, and then they'll add them to these other things as well. So they're making like 3 different updates or 4 different updates for this one thing. Like, you're able to use it 4 different places if you have all of the different devices and stuff. So yeah, I do like that they keep adding, like they're not just doing little tiny, like the quality of life upgrades are great, but it's not just that. Like, they're actually, on 12.2, they released a bunch of, isn't that where they released Roar or something? Anyways, they released a bunch of different things. So yeah, it's sort of nice that every incremental update has some nice little changes. So device A/B comparison. I found this really interesting because they say they've added this to every instrument, every audio device, and every MIDI device, which is interesting because I've never seen them do something like that where they add it to everything. Like, they did the scale awareness, and that's on most of the devices where that lends itself to it. But this one is in all of them. And if you don't know what the A/B, it's like, basically if you check out, like if you're using a plugin, a lot of the time you'll have like, sometimes it's A, B, C, D, whatever, and you're able to have 2 different settings going. So you could have your, like one of the examples they give here, which is actually a really good way to use it, is you can leave your, like you can have A and B. So A is where you make your changes, B is the default, and you can see how that device is affecting your sound, like this particular sound, by going back and forth. And it looks like you can just hit the letter P to go between A and B on whichever device you're working on. So it'll be sort of interesting. It's not something that I use tons. Like, I tend to use it, I'll use it if I'm like making some crazy changes that I don't know how, I don't know if they'll sound good or not. If I want to do stuff to extremes, that's where I'll do it. And then I can always go back to the original one, but it'll be useful. I find the implementation is a tiny bit awkward, where you have to go into the menu to do A/B. Like, I feel like it should have had an A/B like here, but I'm assuming that'll come later. But again, you can just hit P to go back and forth. So I think this will be an interesting thing if you like really playing around with sound. I could see it be useful actually on the EQ8. I tend to do stuff sometimes in instead of the stereo mode, I'll go to mid side and I'll try to raise a bunch of stuff on the sides and reduce a bunch of stuff on the mid if I have like a top loop or something that I just want like spread across, but I don't want it affecting too much of, you know, the center signal type of thing. But so I could see that being useful where you can go back and forth and you might realize, no, it sounded better before. And it's just an easy thing. Instead of having to reset it or go back to the settings that you had before, you're able to make a bunch of changes really quickly, just see if it works or not, and then just revert to the other ones without having to undo a bunch of times. So that'll be useful to have. And I find it, like I said, I find that interesting that they added it on everything. So, and then there's a bunch of little stuff like arrangement view. Yeah, this one, I think if this is what the way I understand it, you know how once in a while you'll have, here, let's just go to this. And let's do a -1. Once in a while you'll have your note and it'll be like just a little bit before like this. So when you hit play, this shouldn't play. Yeah, see, it's not playing. But you still see the note. And it happens a lot of the time if you're doing stuff and then you didn't quantize it, or you quantize it and it just moved it a little bit too far ahead of the clip. So in this case, I'm from what I understand, this means that this one won't show up like this as a normal note. Like you might see it in the background. But anyways, that'll be interesting if that is the case, because it does happen sometimes where I'm like, are we hearing that initial note? Especially if you've got a busy mix and you've got that, you just added one little thing like this is just a pad. You might not notice that it's hitting or not if there's too much going on. So anyways, that could be useful. There's some changes to the browser. They added new icons for the drums, instruments, audio effects, and packs. So if you've been, I'm not sure what's going to happen if you did custom ones. Were we able to do custom ones to these? Drums, instruments. Yeah, we were able to change it. So I don't know what'll happen if you change the icons yourself. But yeah, they're going to do new icons. I don't know. Like, the icons are interesting, but I'm noticing, like, I never really look at them even now, but they're little things. Like, I don't know. I can see that you would notice them without noticing, you know, but anyways, there's stuff like that. There's yeah, some little changes to how the quick tags work, and the core library, they added some stuff. The interface, I'm just looking here. Minimum mixer height, which makes it, I never really noticed. I'm assuming it'll go even smaller than this. Okay, some stuff on Max for Live, if you use that. There's a few new things. The performance. Yeah, so all these are little interesting, you know, quality of life updates. And if you're using Windows, apparently it'll install quite a bit quicker. They're using a new installation system, so that will be useful. And yeah, so that is the stuff for Live itself. I thought there was, oh yeah, there's some extra stuff here that they didn't mention in the other one. There's a new pack here, and only if you have standard or suite. So if you're using intro or light, you won't have access to this. But if you are using this, you'll have the new generators pack and the Expressive Chords. See, I keep hoping that they will add, hold on, let's just, I keep hoping they will make this scale aware. Like, it seems like it would be the logical thing. A lot of people are dropping a scale device after, like a scale MIDI device here. But the thing is, like, just moving notes into the right scale doesn't necessarily, like, I don't know, it won't necessarily put them in the right spot. Like, well, I guess this might just do the same thing if it did. But anyways, it would be nice to have that there. That's not what they added to it. They're adding a new chord edit mode, which actually, I guess that's sort of interesting. Now that I think, I hadn't noticed that's what they were saying. Because yeah, if we go here, it's a B major 7th. But yeah, so if you can go and change those, like change that chord to something else, yeah, it'll be interesting. Even if you do use this scale device, you can, if it doesn't sound right, you can move stuff on that chord instead of not being able to use the chord at all. I hadn't noticed that's what this meant. This is actually that's a nice little update. I think that'll be good. And then the sequencers pack adds support for reproducible arrangements, which is actually interesting because that's one thing with randomization and generative stuff, that like it does something different every time, but there's something to be said for a certain like repetition where like you get, I don't know, that's what's missing with the generative stuff. I find a lot of the time, like I sort of need that repetition, but having the randomized stuff together. So I'm assuming that's what this means, is you'll be able to like have a certain arrangement and have it like be the same every time. I don't even know if have I gotten this pack. Rhythmic step art. I remember seeing these on my old computer. I don't even know if I've installed it on here. Oh, let's find out. Sequencers. We're gonna go to packs. Oh yeah, I do have it here. Okay, so we're gonna have to look at that. Okay, so we'll look at that when that comes out. And let's go back here. Okay, so that's what we have. Oh yeah, here. And then push has a bunch of new stuff, but the main one is this XYZ layout, XYZ here in Canada or the UK or a few other places. And oh, I'm sorry, I've been missing some of the chat. It was at the bottom of my screen. So I'm sorry if you've been writing stuff and I missed it. Does Move get anything new? I don't know if you're still here, Daniel, but yes, they definitely do. There's some big changes on Move, and I'm going to do a live stream tomorrow about that because there's enough for its own live stream. So some interesting stuff on Move for sure. And I'm glad I moved over to Ableton 3 months ago. The new Tremolo auto panning is going to be fun to add to my tracks. Yeah, it's one of those things that just makes it so easy to do stuff really quickly. And in this world needs a hero again, says hello there, by the way. Hi, nice to see you. Thanks a lot for being here. I appreciate you guys being here. Like, it's one of those things where I go into like discovery mode, and a lot of people have said they enjoy these streams because like we're sort of all learning a little bit at the same time. And I was actually waiting to see who would update first, because you might know I do a lot of Ableton streams, a lot of Reason streams, and a lot of Serum stuff, and then a whole bunch of random plugins. But so I ended up doing a poll a little while back, like here on the YouTube channel. And this isn't a huge sample size, but I was putting, I wrote it. It feels like it's been a while since we got an update from one of them. And which one do you think will be next? Reason was the one that came out on top for this one. And I actually agreed with that. Like, it's been a while since we got a bigger Reason update, but it turned out Ableton took the lead, and they took off and did this. And a nice surprise, a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, push 3, the XYZ layout, which is, I'm assuming it's a little bit like the Chaos pad from Korg. And it's interesting because like this is a push 1 here. So you're not able to do stuff like that as much because every button is separate. But the push 3, because of the MPE and stuff, you're able to like slide around a little bit more. So from the way they explain it, you'll be able to slide around. I'm assuming it's this pattern here. Like you'll be able to slide around, do stuff there, but also be playing notes with your other hand. So that'll be an interesting way to do it. New rhythm generator, drum rack layout that makes one of Live's MIDI tools playable on push 3. Oh, is that just... Oh, okay, so I'm assuming, because we have, let's just look here. We have the rhythm generator. I'm assuming it's this here. You'll be able to use this directly in, because these are the MIDI generators here. You'll be able to use this directly on push 3, which is really interesting. I'm still hesitating with the push 3. Like I have been since that first day it came out, and I keep like putting it off, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll wait. Maybe one day, you know, the push 4, though that could be really far, it could be far off. But yeah, I don't know. Whoa, I'm not sure what I just hit. But I think that was weird. I don't even think I hit the pedal. Very odd. I've been in love with the auto filter recently. I used the Ableton vocoder with my Oberheim TE05 as a carrier during last night's stream. Fun stuff. I'll have to check out your streams. This world needs a hero. And yeah, the auto filter, I do like the new auto filter. Like it just makes such a difference. Just if we go here, I'll just add it real quickly here. Just the fact that you're able to see the differences with the LFO. Here we go. Like this stuff here, that it's so visual. I do like the auto filter a lot, and I agree with you. It's funny, I don't use the Ableton vocoder as much as I should, and I really have to sit down and play with it a little bit more. I've been using the orange vocoder lately, and it's just so easy to get a sound out of it and get different sounds out of it that I tend to just go for what's easy. But I really do need to sit down, because the Ableton vocoder was the first one that I really like started to understand how vocoders work. And the main reason, go here. The main reason is this, like the fact that it has a built-in carrier and you're able to do stuff without having the external carrier, because that's the thing, the modulator, like the external, because that's the thing, like with the vocoder, you need the two signals. So it's nice to have something that creates its own just to get you started, and then you can start to go with the external stuff. So I do like this, and I'm actually going to check out your streams, because I want I want to get some tips on how to get started with it, because I feel like I load it up and then I sit there and I'm like, I have no ideas on like what to do with it now. So yeah, I'll check that out. But that is a very good device. And yes, touch sensitive step editing. So that's basically the stuff on push. Most of these changes will be only to push 3, because it's stuff that just works on push 3. Like there's some stuff, and they are really good at bringing features to push 2 or even push 1 for stuff when it is possible. But yeah, it looks like these will just be with the push 3. But I don't know, sometimes they do mention push 3, and when you look at it, the other ones do. Let's just see here real quickly. Push release notes. Push 3. Yeah, they really do mention just the push 3 here for the new features, and some stuff that is going to be available on standalone as well. So that's sort of nice. All right, on the controller, these are the ones that are for the controller and standalone, and not just standalone, I mean. And but yeah, I think they mention when it is available on push 2, but I've seen stuff, I'm pretty sure I've seen stuff that they don't specifically mention push 1 and 2, that the stuff sort of trickles down to it. So there may be a possibility for some of these things, but definitely not this XYZ layout, because I don't think it could. Well, I mean, I guess it could. It could be interesting, but if you were doing it on push 1, you'd have like steps, like it wouldn't be as smooth. So yeah, and that's probably it. So basically, tomorrow, I'm going to really try for tomorrow. We're going to do the Move and a little bit of the Note, like I said, just because, yeah, they've added stuff in Note I don't know. It was a little bit of a mess today. I don't know if it was like because of the on the iPad side, it was tough to even find that there was an update. Once I did update, that it had what's new. Then I clicked on something and I missed the what's new little thing, and I couldn't get back to it. And yeah, it would have been nice if you were able to run that again. And then yeah, there's a in-app purchase now. It's tough to find. I did find it eventually. I'll show you tomorrow how to get to it if you do need that. And yeah, so that's 12.3. Hopefully in a few weeks. They generally release on Tuesdays when they do a release. But I'm curious. I was thinking about this today, and I really should have checked. I'm just going to check here on the side. I wonder. Yeah. And okay, I'm just going to, I wonder if I can just do 12.2. Okay, so 12.2, let's talk about it. I did the same stream as this, March 12th. And then the 12.2 was released June 11th. Now, this means absolutely nothing because there could be a whole bunch of stuff to fix and it takes forever, or it could be just a little bit. I was actually surprised that this one took that long. So March 12th, June 11th, so April, May, June. So it was 3 months before it was released. I don't think it'll be that long. Like, I think that was a lot longer than it usually is. Like, it seems like usually once they do this official announcement of the public beta, it is pretty quick. But hopefully it'll be much quicker than that. But yeah, we can hope for that very soon, or hopefully soon. And yeah, okay. Well, thanks a lot to everybody who is here. And I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate the people in the chat. I appreciate the lurkers who are just watching and enjoying learning about this stuff. I always love looking at the new stuff. It's always exciting. It's almost like a little Christmas where a little birthday present where even though I'm far away from my birthday, but and I do like that they do these over and over, so they're not doing them as a major like number update every time. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see when this comes out. So thanks a lot for being here, everybody, and I will see you next time. Like I said, tomorrow we'll look at the Ableton Move. So okay, see you soon, and thanks again for being here. I appreciate you so much. You have no idea. Have a good night, everybody.